He is. Your cat is like the Chad of like cats. Like
I don't know that cultural reference.
Gosh. How do I explain this to you?
When I hear Chad, I think of voting, like hanging chads.
Oh no, like white, stereotypical.
Like a bro?
Yeah, like a bro.
Okay.
And Chad is such a stereotypical white bro name.
It is. Okay.
Welcome to Knitting My Shit Together, the podcast where I totally forgot what our podcast is about. Oh
where neurodivergence and yarn collide.
Oh my gosh.
As you can see happening right now in this frame.
Oh, great. Oh, man. My brain is working so great today.
It's all good. What's your name? We're just going to keep going with this.
Remember.
I'm not letting you restart. Because if I let you restart, then you get stuck in this thing where you've recorded like 20 takes because you keep trying to get it perfect and it just builds pressure. And that's dumb. Let's just go with the flow, and this is it.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Hi, I'm Annika. I use they, them pronouns. And you can find me online on Ravelry at Threadcatcher and on Instagram at Tea-Fueled Living.
And where do you live, Annika?
Where do I live? I live in Moses Lake, Washington. Yeah.
Hi. I'm Farrah. I use she, her pronouns. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and you can find me on Instagram at TomboyFemBags and on Ravelry at Farrah Knits. Welcome.
Sweet.
If you're new, right, by the way.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Buckle up. It's a wild ride around here.
It is.
And if you're not new to joining us and keep coming back, why?
What kind of masochist are you?
Why?
We love you.
We love you so much. Thank you so much for coming back.
If you keep coming back, you're part of our posse of weirdos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is pretty...
It is.
Yes. Okay. What do we want to start with this week?
Should we do updates, like things happening?
Oh, yeah.
Like Cal
things
and...
Updates. Let's see. So there was no podcast last week because I had bronchitis. And Tobin, my youngest, had bronchitis. And we went to the doctors 3 days in a row. And, yeah.
And so. I was in the middle of learning how I can't do all the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it. Turns out I can't do all the things. Well.
Yeah. Too bad, the whole, time turner thing in Harry Potter doesn't exist. I personally wouldn't want to do all the things, but I would totally use it to, turn back time for a couple hours and actually take a nap.
Isn't that, what daylight savings is, kind of?
Not if you have kids.
Not in the spring, but in the fall it kind of is.
No, because then they just wake up and it's still dark, and then they get grumpy because it's dark outside.
See, my kids used to always just sleep the extra hour. It was delightful. But they weren't young, so.
Mine are. I'm jealous. Let's see. Other updates. Our knit-along, the Cover Your Ass knit-along, starts October 1st, which is
15 days. We're recording on Sunday the 15th.
Yay! Yay.
And
so
we've
exciting.
I'll just say for me, I've dropped the proverbial ballage on the group. Just because I'm We're not there. Join the group. Yeah, you say it, Annika. I just wanted to own my fail and not make it, not you have to own my fail.
Well, I haven't been doing anything in the group either, so, it's cool. All right, so we have a Ravelry group, and you can find the link in our link tree on Instagram, and also, is it in our description below? Do you stick it there?
Yeah, I think. If not, I will. I'll put it in, because it should be in.
Yeah, okay, so the link will be in the description box below. Come join us on Ravelry for having discussions about what yarn you're going to be using. We're also going to be having a cast-on party on midnight October 1st.
No, midnight September 30th.
30th.
This is the thing where every week we have to count, do the rhyme in our head to figure out how many damn days are in September. So anyway.
Yes.
30.
So we will be having a cast-on party in our normal meeting room where we will all be casting on the nether garments or whatever ass covering garment you choose for the knit-along. So please come and join us. Let's see. Other things you can find in our Ravelry group, just general discussion. And then also I post show notes after every episode. I think I've only missed one so far. Where you can find all of the things that we talked about and links to the specific patterns and yarns and just general goodness.
Cool.
Yeah.
And patches.
Oh, yeah.
This is exciting.
We have patches coming. I'm so excited for this. Okay. So Farrah got the awesome idea to make subscriber patches and patches for the knit-alongs we're doing. We are currently working with a designer who has sent us some designs that we discussed and gave feedback about, and we're moving forward in that process. So we have subscriber patches and participation patches for the Cover Your Ass Knit-along coming. So keep your eye out because they're coming and you should get some because they're awesome. So.
It's going to be great. And I'll create, once we have the designs made and approved and we've picked them, we'll put them in the Ravelry group and maybe on Instagram too, but you should for sure join the Ravelry group. And what we will do is then create a pre-order and a link where you could go to pre-order the patches.
Yes.
Yeah. Yay, because Annika and I personally don't want to have like 500 patches. We have nothing to do with. Yeah.
No, I think like my max is like 3 or 4 that I could figure out something to do with.
Yeah, we did.
Like, I don't know what else I would do with like a whole bunch of the same patch personally. Yes.
What next, Annika?
Okay. 2 more rounds of increasing. Sorry, I have a sock throat. Let's see. Next, if there's no more announcements, because I can't think of anything else.
I can't.
We're just kind of in a waiting period until the knit-along starts.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Okay. Next, why don't we move on to finished objects?
Okay.
Do you have any finished objects?
No. Because, so here's, well, I think, can I give my I can't do all the things explanation? Do you think that would be appropriate?
Go for it.
So I went back to school and also had Tomboy Femme bags going and also trying to knit. And it turns out, can't do all the things. So I decided to take a pause on school for a semester and really examine stuff and devote my time and attention to the bags and to this and invest in it. But that meant I fell behind on bag stuff, and so I had to quick play catch up, and I'm still in the process of that. By the end of this week, I'll be totally caught up, I think. And then I'm going to set like official Tomboy Femme Bags business hours, where I dedicate my time to making bags and bag things. And then the rest of the time I knit, and do fun things those are fun things, but non-business things. And then that way, sorry about moving the chair and my camera. And then that way I can, that's just what I'm going to do. So I have one more week of catch up, and then I'll be doing that.
Sweet.
Business hours. Yeah. So long story longer, I haven't finished any objects.
Sweet. All right. So I have a couple finished objects. All right. So the first finished object that I have is this plant hanger that I made. And this is a Yarn Inspirations pattern. It's called the Hanging Plant Trio. And
that's cute.
I used Plymouth Encore
worsted.
The worsted to make this, and it feels really good. However, I'm not actually like really sure how I feel about this pattern. Not because it wasn't fun to crochet, and not because like it didn't turn out the way that like the pictures said it was supposed to, but just more of the I tried putting plants in it. So it says it's supposed to fit a 3 to 4 inch plant pot in it. And when you put the plants in it, it tips the cup part forward too much. And I dumped my plants. So
here's a thought. What if you tried making it out of like hemp string or rope?
I mean, I don't think...
Because that's less flexible than yarn.
Well, yeah, I think it's more of just how the straps go, because it has you make 3 straps, and then it has you stick all 3 straps to the back. And the way that the straps go, like, then there's nothing in the front to help it, like, stabilize it.
Got it.
So I think it's just too much. It's the plants that I chose are just too top-heavy. So I'm going to have to stick non-succulent plants in it, which is fine, because I rescue clearance plants all the time. And I was wrong. I used the Encore Chunky.
Okay.
Not the
worsted.
Worsted. I bought worsted in the same color for something for my mom's house at the same time. But no, this is the Chunky, because the original pattern uses Bernat Homemaker Deck. And it's a seasonal yarn, and I couldn't find it. So, all right. And then the other finished objects that I have are 3 hats. 3 kids' hats. So here's this one.
Cute. And is this for the main thing?
What? Yeah, this is for the main thing. So there was a call put out asking for kid and adult hats and mittens, and I originally read that as hats and sweaters, because apparently my reading comprehension skills are gone. And so I've been making kid hats. So this hat specifically is the rib wrapped cap by Celtic Mommy on Ravelry, and it's a free pattern. And it was actually like a really quick knit. I knit this one using Red Heart Super Saver stripes in retro stripe, and it's really cute. And it actually is like surprisingly like more neon looking than I expected, because the yarn does. It looks neon here. In person, this is really pastel-y looking, and it works up way more neon. So that was a cool surprise.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it was also like a really fun pattern too. I really like. I'm not normally like a front post double crochet lover, but I really like how it worked with this hat. And then the other 2 hats are one that I'm currently writing the pattern for, just because like the majority of the kid hat patterns that I've found are just too big kid head wise. Like the one that I just made, like it fits my head perfectly. And I mean, I don't have a small head. I don't have a giant head, but I don't have a small head. And
So are you trying these on your kiddos to...
Yeah,
okay.
I've tried these on my kiddos and the 6 neighborhood kids that were in my garage earlier, and it fits all of their heads. So
awesome.
Yes. So I wrote out the pattern, or I need to finish writing out the pattern. But
is the yarn doing that, or is it yarn plus stitch pattern?
No, so this is the yarn doing it, and then this is just like normal double crochets and increases up here. And then this is the yarn, or excuse me, this is the pattern doing it. That's really down cute. Here. Thank you. So hopefully I will be uploading this hat pattern.
Are you going to charge for it, like at least $1 even?
Oh, no, the hat is a donation hat, like specifically for donations.
Got it.
I don't feel right charging for that at all. Okay. So no. Yeah, I tweaked the hat pattern that I use and wrote out or made for preemie hats.
Okay.
To make the kid hat. So
cool.
I just scaled it up a whole bunch because preemie hats are way smaller. But yeah. So I need to actually keep working on the preemie hats. I'm really behind this year. My daughter, when she was born, spent time in the NICU, and so every year I make 100 hats to send to the NICU in honor of her birthday, and I'm only at 40-something hats, and her birthday was last month, so I need to get on that because I'm behind. So
do they use them all?
Mm-hmm. I split it between a couple different hospitals. There's a hospital in Los Angeles that my family has been going to since before I was born. And they have a very large, low-income population that their hospital services. And so they take the majority of my hats because they're always in need of those sort of things for the NICU. And then I also end up sending about like 20, 25 hats to the hospital that she was born at every year because they normally don't have more space than that.
Okay.
Because Seattle has a lot of charity knitters. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's it for my finished objects this week. I have a lot of whips, though. So, yeah, let's move into whips.
So, this is my first whip.
I love it.
Okay, so I only have this much left of this stripe, and then I start the cuff.
Ooh, that's exciting.
So this is Round Table Yarns, Hard Rock Like Lancelot colorway that Annika gifted me that they got in Texas. And it's charcoal blue and yellow gold stripes, and I love it. And I love how tonal they are. This is 3 Irish Girls yarn. They're a collaboration with Stephen B. called Binge Knits. And I'll use this for toes, heels, cuff. And that's it for knitting. I worked on no other knitting. Like just this sock.
Wow.
I'm trying to think if I did anything else at school, but I didn't, just this. So, but I'll get going on it. Plus, I'm now part of a test knit that I have to get going on for one of Jessie May's patterns. So, yeah.
Sweet.
We'll get going on that. But
I finished that too this week.
Oh, you did?
I did. Here, let me go grab it.
Yeah, because you have to show it.
I'm not gonna put it on.
No, but you have to show it because it's awesome. Can I screenshot the photo from Instagram and put that on here?
Oh, yeah, that's fine, sure.
Okay, so I'll insert the picture, people, of Annika modeling it. It looks fabulous on them.
All right. Here is the actual.
Love the color.
Me too. And the yarn that I used is Lorna's Laces, Shepherd Sport, and Grasshopper.
And that's the framework bralette, right?
Yeah, this is the framework bralette by Jessie May. And I honestly was really impressed. So I knit the 4X size, and I enjoyed it the whole entire way through. Like when you knit bigger sizes, like, generally, I'd say probably about, like, 2/3, 3/4 of the way, you're like, I'm just done. Like, can we just be done with this project? I'm so sick of knitting the same thing over and over again. But it wasn't like that with the framework bralette. It was so much fun. I really, really enjoyed it.
I'm totally doing one of those, and I'm going to do my own ripple bralette. The ripple bralette I bought the pattern for. The one I'm test knitting, I'll get the pattern for, but I want to get the framework too, and maybe the ripple crop tee.
I have yarn coming to make the ripple crop top. I got some BTS inspired yarn from Hikari, from Hawari Bazaar Co. And it's coming, and it's going to make the prettiest ripple bralette, and I'm really excited. Aren't you proud of me? I waited like 2 months before buying BTS inspired yarn. Like, isn't everyone impressed?
I'm impressed. Speaking of buying things, my other whip is kind of a sewing whip that I'm in the middle of for myself, a bag for me. And all I have so far done is the patches, and I know what bag I'm going to use, but it's related to like a retail relapse thing that happened. So last night at like 3:00 in the morning, I was making online with Sultan, and we started talking about the Mochi Mochi Land gnomes that I want, the mini gnome kit. And then he and I together went to the site and started looking and seeing, like, there's so many cute things in there. Mochi Mochis. Like, there's a cat in a corset. There's a black cat in a little life ring floating device that's I'm going to get. It's like Hamilton. There's narwhals. There's all kinds of cute things. So I caved and bought the gnome kit at 3:30 in the morning or something. And then I realized I need to make a separate project bag for Mochi Mochi. Like, a sock project bag would be perfect to carry around Mochi Mochi. So I did that, and I made the patches for it. So it's going to say, I'm going to finish the bag maybe tonight if I have time. It's going to say Mochi Mochi on board. Is what it's going to say. That's going to be fun to have. And I think my Mochi Mochi will be here by the end of next week.
That's exciting.
Hey. Gnomes! So those are my whips. Tell me about yours.
All right. So the whip that I'm currently working on while we're talking is the second one of these socks. And the pattern is a slip stitch style pattern that our friend Yelly told me about / designed. And I'm like, I need socks like this.
They're so cute.
So the yarn for the body is Knit Picks Felici in Playhouse. And then the toes, cuffs, and going to be heels are a Premier Serenity sock weight. And they say it's navy, but I still really think that someone put the wrong ball band on it, because this is not navy. It is charcoal gray.
Oh.
I don't know. Like, it's very charcoal gray. I don't know. But yeah, so I have that pair of socks going. Let's see. Another whip that I have is Monster socks. They still need heels. I honestly am just not feeling them though. And I just don't really want to put the heels in. So
Sultan mentioned, or you both mentioned, feeling meh about your Monster socks.
Yeah, they're really pretty. I'm just not really feeling them as socks though. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm still bitter about how many ends I had to weave in. I'm thinking maybe that I might do an afterthought thumb hole and make these into mittens instead, because I think they'd be really cute mittens. And that's calling to me way more than them being socks.
I think they'd be cute mittens too, actually.
Yeah. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah. Let's see.
I might have. So we both. Did you get the mustache yarns Advent socks.
The Hobbit Christmas ones?
Yeah. So we're both getting those in November. And then I also caved because Sultan put that link up in our chat about Valkyrie Fibers is doing a Rocky Horror Picture Show themed self-striping mystery sock.
Ooh.
And I'm like, yeah, I went and immediately bought it. So
that's funny. Okay. So other whips that I have, because I still have more. Like I said, when the call came out asking for woolens for the refugees coming into Maine, and I read that as hats and sweaters, I started a kid sweater. So this is the Bowline sweater by Tin Can Knit.
So cute.
I'm honestly really in love with this sweater. I'm really enjoying knitting it. And the yarn that I'm using is Loops and Threads Impeccable in the teal colorway. And
so, are you still going to send the sweater to Maine even?
No, I'm not going to send it to Maine because they didn't ask for it, and I don't want to inundate them with a whole bunch of stuff that they don't have processes to process and deal with. I'm going to give it to, there is a group here in Moses Lake that knits sweaters for foster kids and for other kids that get taken out of hard situations, and they take kid sweaters, so I'll knit this and probably a couple more sweaters and give that over to them, because I have a bunch of acrylic yarn that I'm just not in love with, but it's not enough to knit a full sweater or blanket out of. So
yeah,
I mean, kid sweaters take the couple skeins.
And it's good to have kid sweaters in acrylic, for washing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Easy to wash, easy to take care of, pretty heavy duty. All right, and then I have, let's see, this is my last whip. So my last whip is I am testing out our friend Sultan, who is Nonbinary Co. on Instagram. He has a hat pattern that he just asked for testers for.
And it's gorgeous.
It is so gorgeous. And, the pattern is honestly, exhilarating to knit. I finished the first full section, and I just started the second section of it, which is really cool. But the pattern's exhilarating to knit because you used drop stitches. And it gives you, the same little thrill that, cutting into your sock for Afterthought Heels does. And, I'm really enjoying it.
The exhilaration of the creative destructive cycle.
Yes, because it's really one of, it really gets my blood pumping, because I'm I could completely, be destroying how this hat is going to be turning out here in just a second if I don't pick this up correctly. And I don't know, that, little bit of fear just really, really is making me enjoy knitting this hat. I know that might sound kind of weird, but
that's okay.
Yeah. I also really like fast roller coasters and ones that flip you upside down and backwards and in the dark, because that little bit of fear is great. So, but I don't like jump scares. I hate those.
Me either.
That's too much for me. All right. Should we move into the mental health moment?
Yeah.
That's next, right? Yeah.
Mental health moment.
All right, so this week we are talking about pronouns and why it's important mental health wise to use people's pronouns when they tell you them and respect those pronouns. And then I thought I'd also share part of my story as a non-binary person about how I figured out I was non-binary, because I get that question a lot. A lot of people who are not non-binary just don't understand, how do you know that you're non-binary? And they don't understand, or they don't like the answer when you just go back, how did you know you were a girl? Or how did you know you were a guy?
Yeah, that's what I think. How did I know I was a girl? I've just known.
Yeah, known that I wasn't. So, yeah. Okay, so I guess we can start off with, my story. So I am the oldest of 3 kids. And I was assigned female at birth, obviously. And growing up, I was always called the tomboy. Like, all of my friends were boys. I hated wearing dresses. I hated wearing skirts. Like, I wanted to be wearing tennis shoes and pants or shorts and going out and playing and doing like rough and tumble things. And yeah, like I was the sporty, athletic tomboy kid growing up. And like, honestly, like, I identified more as being a boy than a girl at that point, and I didn't like being called a girl felt wrong. And I remember when I was in 4th grade that I had this giant mosquito bite on my cheek the day of picture day, and so I had to go and get pictures redone.
Oh,
like a couple weeks later, and I forgot that picture day was that day. And me being who I am, like, didn't think to like put my hair down or anything when I got sent to the room to go get my picture taken. And so my hair was in a ponytail, and I was wearing a long sleeve button up shirt. And when my family got the pictures back, they're like, "Look, Annika, it's your long lost twin brother. You look like a boy." And then they would start like jokingly like say I had a twin brother and I was the twin brother and blah blah blah. And that was like the most like gender affirming thing for me. I'm like, yeah, they're saying that I'm not a girl. They're saying that I'm a boy. Like, this is fantastic. And even though like I knew I wasn't a boy, like being called a boy felt better than being called a girl. And also because like I didn't have to wear a dress for picture day, and that was like so fantastic. But yeah, so I continued to feel more like a boy than like a girl until the summer between 7th grade and 8th grade, when puberty hit really, really hard, and it was very hard to, like, there was no way that you couldn't tell that I was a girl. And so all of my friends were like, you need to start dressing like a girl. And there was a lot of pressure to start dressing more feminine and to stop dressing so, I don't know, ambiguous.
Yeah.
The way that I dress now, to be honest, like, I never really stopped dressing this way. And I like to call my personal style, I'm lazy and I don't like wearing clothes. But yeah, so after that, I didn't feel like a girl, and I didn't feel like I was doing the girl thing correctly. And so I leaned really hard for a bit into being more feminine and like being super, super feminine and thinking like, oh, if I become more feminine and get better at this, then this won't feel so bad and this won't feel so wrong. And spoiler alert, that didn't fix the problem at all. This made me feel more uncomfortable because I was wearing clothes that felt uncomfortable and made me feel emotionally uncomfortable. So it was just a bad situation all around and didn't fix anything. But it wasn't until about a year and a half ago or so at this point now that there was this huge movement on Instagram for non-binary acceptance. And it was the first time that I'd ever heard of the term non-binary. And like other people started sharing their stories and how they felt. And like while reading them, I'd be like, yeah, that's it. That's exactly how I feel. Me too. Like these people get it. And so me being who I am, you know me in person, like, I'm really big into research. Like, I will research just for fun. When family members and friends need to find something, they're generally like, okay, this is what I'm looking for. Can you help me? Go find this for me, please. And I really enjoy it. Like, I really, really enjoy it. So I research just for fun, but I also, like, research is really comforting for me. And so I researched the heck out of this. Like, if you, like, pull down, like, my most searched or, like, recent searches in Google at the time, it would all be like, what does non-binary mean? Can you be in your 20s and figure out that you're non-binary? Like, it was all these questions about, like, trying to figure out, like, whether or not I was valid enough as a non-binary person, and whether or not, like, I actually could be non-binary. And pardon me. So I did a lot of research, and I talked to other people who were or who are openly out as non-binary online, and they were so gracious and let me ask a whole bunch of questions and, like, just, like, emotionally vomit or word vomit into their DMs about, like, how I didn't feel like non-binary enough and whatnot to actually be able to, like, use the label. And it was really interesting. One of them was, like, really nice and said to me and was like, Annika, the fact that you're even here worrying that you're not non-binary enough shows that you're non-binary. Like, you know that you're not, that you don't feel like a woman, and you know that you're not a man. Like, you fit here. It's okay. And they're like, most cisgendered people don't just, like, sit there and worry about, like, am I really the right gender? Like, they just know. And, like, that really impacted me. Like, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Like, I know I'm not female and I know I'm not male. Like, perfect. This is where I want to be. And so I started asking people that I was super close to, friend-wise, being like, hey, I want to try out using these pronouns. Can you use them when you're referring to me? I just want to see if this fits for me. And the first time that I got called a they, like, pronoun-wise, was so, like, it was the first time that I ever experienced, like, gender euphoria. Like, it was so affirming. I'm like, yeah, this is great. And so yeah. So I personally use they, them pronouns. I do not use she, her, or he, him, or any other pronouns. Yeah.
So one question I get from people we both mutually know is it's usually from cisgendered folks who accidentally use the wrong pronoun when referring to you. Mm-hmm. And then they'll message me, and I don't think this is wrong. I just think they're asking, you know what I mean? Like, let me put it this way. I don't like people intentionally misgendering anybody.
Yeah.
What I mean is, I don't think it's wrong for them to come to me with this question, is what I meant. To say, like, I accidentally used she, her pronouns with Annika. Like, what do I do if that happens? And so one time I was talking with you and another of our friends who uses they, them pronouns, and I was like, hey, just so you know, this is what I've been telling people, but I kind of, like, just made this up, and, like, is this way off base?
Yeah.
And
so for our people watching this, if you accidentally misgender someone, couple tips. One, apologize, use the correct pronouns, like, correct yourself right then, and move on. Mm-hmm. Don't throw yourself a pity party in front of the person that you just misgendered. Don't go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that I misgendered you. Like, can you forgive me? Like, don't do that. That puts the person that you just misgendered in a really rude spot.
Well, and you're centering yourself in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So literally just go, oops, sorry, they did this, and then move on. Like, it's really not a big deal. Like, society has conditioned us to, like, visually be like, oh, that person is a blank, and go with those pronouns automatically because our society is so binary. And especially if you've known someone before they came out too, that can be tricky to change your mental perception.
Yeah.
And while I understand that, that is not a reason to not, I'm not giving you permission to not change your mental perception. I'm saying you still have to do the work, but don't put the emotional labor on the person you just misgendered.
Agreed.
Do the work, apologize, move on.
Yep, agreed.
So
that's the answer I came up with. Trying to think if there's any other questions I might have. Okay, so I'm not saying I have this question. I'm saying I can see maybe folks who... Well, one thing I wanted to say is another tip for folks who are like, I want to call people by their correct pronouns. It's just hard to remember and retrain myself. One thing that I started doing that really helped me in this is anybody who does not specify their pronouns to me, I use they, them pronouns. And then that gets your brain used to doing it. And that has helped me a lot. Do I still say the wrong pronouns? Yes, I do. And then I apologize and move forward and correct. But...
So to be honest, I misgender myself sometimes too.
Yeah.
Especially with people that I'm newly out to.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be like, oh yeah, Annika did this. And I'm like, wait, no, they, and then I move on. Like, it happens.
Yeah. But I think... You know, like, I'll say this. I know that when my kids went to high school and when I went to high school, how gender and sexuality, which are different things, people, were handled were totally different. So I feel like a lot of people their age, and I get this is dependent on where you live, but where we have lived, the kids their age have way more freedom in exploring both gender and sexual identity. And I appreciate that. I think that's really awesome that they have that freedom.
That is. Now,
for people who didn't, who are maybe my age, like I'm a Gen Xer, and grew up not having that, and therefore not having some of the language that can go with it, people can be like, I don't understand what all these terms mean. And I think one thing people mix up is the idea of transgender and non-binary.
Well, so here's the thing.
And I know there's overlap, and I know all of that. So if you could discuss...
Non-binary falls underneath the transgender umbrella, because transgender just means that you're not the gender that you were assigned at birth.
Yes.
And you don't identify with that. So non-binary, since you aren't identifying with either gender, or you might fall somewhere in the gender spectrum, falls underneath the transgender umbrella.
Yeah.
There are people who are binary transgender where they're like, no, I'm actually a woman, and they could have been assigned male at birth, and vice versa, and that's also valid.
Yeah.
But that is different than being non-binary, which is where you fall somewhere in between the two.
And I got that. I just wanted to talk about it because I think maybe some people never learned that.
Yeah.
And that's legit.
I know you've got it. We've talked about it before. So the other thing too that I want to bring up is the people who are like, but they, them aren't used correctly in grammar for singular pronouns. And I have no nice words to say to you people, because, like, one, bullshit, and then two, the other thing is when you don't know a singular person's name, or you don't know enough about them to use binary pronouns, it is correct grammar to use they, them pronouns, or they, them in the sentence. And so if you can do it for someone that you don't know their name or their gender enough to call them by that pronoun, some stranger, you can do it with your loved ones and your friends and not be a dick.
Well, and not only that, but if we're going to get into that, like, should we talk about the everyday language we all use all the time that isn't grammatically correct that we don't think about? Because we do all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think that's kind of a BS excuse.
100%.
Yeah. And it's not non-binary folks' fault that our language didn't come up with singular non-binary pronouns.
Yep. And they found one, and we've found ones that we like and can use, and you just need to respect that.
Yeah.
I think the whole big thing around using someone's correct pronouns when they tell you them is, number one, just don't be a dick. If they tell you that they want you to use the pronouns, one, they realized that like they've done a lot of introspective work to figure out that those are the pronouns that fit for them. Like, it's not just the spur of the moment, oh, I'm just going to try being a different gender today.
And even if it was...
That is also valid. I do want to put that out there. But generally, people asking you to use the pronouns, it takes a lot of emotional work on their part to get the courage to even ask someone to do it. So, like seriously, just don't be a dick. Like, just, you don't need to tell them your thoughts about their pronouns. Like, you don't need to insert yourself into that at all.
Yeah.
Except to be like, okay, awesome, I will do my best to use those, and then actually do your best to use them. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
So are you open to, and if you say no, that's totally okay. If people have questions, they could DM you?
Yeah, totally. I just ask that they are questions that aren't easily Googled. Like, I don't want people to, like, DM me, so what is non-binary? Like I get a lot of, like, weird, I don't know if they're spam or, like, what exactly, DMs from, I'm assuming, cisgendered white males a lot. And I get a lot of, like, so what is non-binary? And what are they, them pronouns? In my inbox, don't do that. Like, if you have actual questions about, like, the non-binary experience, or, like, what that looks like on day-to-day life, or, like, how to best support your friends who are non-binary, then totally DM me. So.
If you wouldn't mind, Annika, giving me some links of good resources that you liked, I will put those links in the show notes in the description box down below when we upload the video.
And I'll stick them in the show notes in our Ravelry group too.
Yeah. So. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I don't think there's anything else. I don't know. Do we have any wrap up? You should subscribe. Oh, this is our 20th episode.
Yay! We've done it! Woo-hoo!
20! That's exciting.
That is exciting.
That's it. That's all I got this week. Oh, we'll be on our lives as usual this week. So Wednesday and Friday we do lives on Instagram. You should follow us and see those. They're really fun. We've had really good conversations and they're fun to do. And we kind of do them whenever I wake up. which is usually in the afternoonish, and I've showered, we'll get up and do that. So yeah. Okay.
My kids are running laps in the hallway and then just keep stopping in my doorway and just staring at me.
Okay.
Sorry.
We can end here.
Okay.
I'm really tired for some reason. I don't know why.
Me too.
Okay. All right. I'm going to end the recording. Bye, everyone. See you next week.
Bye. Thanks for joining us.